The storm clouds moved over Thraxis 9 like slow beasts, their red lightning spreading across the sky. The Terran ship Odyssey Dawn landed carefully on the gray ground, its metal legs sinking a little into the dust. Commander Elias Ward stood near the airlock window, his helmet lights shining faintly. The planet looked empty at first, silent, lifeless, but the scanner kept showing motion on the edges. It was not small movement either. Something big was out there. Dr. Amira Holt walked beside him holding a tablet full of readings. "The atmosphere's fine for short exposure," she said quietly. "But energy readings, they don't match anything I know." Her voice trembled a bit, but not from fear, more from curiosity. The team stepped out into the strange wind. The air had a bitter taste, dry like rust. Mountains of glass-like stone rose in the distance, shining with lightning flashes. They could hear a deep sound from far away, like a drumbeat that came from under the ground. It felt as if the world itself was alive and waiting. They walked toward a canyon filled with mist. The ground was covered with prints, huge claw marks, each one deep as a human arm. Something had been hunting here. Ward lifted his rifle scanner, not as a weapon but as a sensor. The device showed a large shape moving in the fog. Then, for the first time that day, something looked back. Through the haze came two bright eyes, glowing faintly gold. The shape behind them moved slowly, like a mountain breathing. The creature was huge, covered in thick black scales that shone wetly under the lightning. Its tail scraped against the rocks, sending sparks. It stood tall, balanced on four legs, and raised its head toward the humans. "Don't move," Ward whispered. Everyone froze. The creature's chest expanded as it breathed. It should have attacked. It was close enough to crush them in one step, but it didn't. Its gaze locked on Ward. For a strange long moment, time stopped. Ward felt something inside him stir, something old and wild. The creature's eyes were not angry or cruel, they were sharp, full of thought. The beast blinked once and its pupils narrowed to slits. It tilted its head slightly, the way a curious animal does when it recognizes something familiar. Ward realized he was holding his breath. Amira whispered through the communicator. "It's not afraid of us. It's studying you." No one moved. Even the storm above seemed to hold still. The creature finally lowered its head, gave a low rumbling sound that was almost like speech, and slowly backed into the fog. It disappeared, leaving behind a silence heavier than before. Back on the ship, Amira replayed the video over and over. "This is impossible," she said. "It stopped because it saw you. It wasn't fear. It was awareness." She compared the reaction to similar events from other expeditions. To her shock, the same strange behavior appeared again and again. On other planets, hunters had done the same thing. Paused, stared, then left. Ward leaned forward. "You're saying predators across different worlds all react the same way?" She nodded. "Yes, they don't attack us immediately. They look. They hesitate." That night, Ward could not sleep. He kept seeing those golden eyes in the mist. The feeling they gave him was not fear. It was recognition. Humans had once been hunters too, long ago, fighting with claws and fire against nature itself. Maybe that memory still lived somewhere deep in their eyes. The next morning, Ward made a decision that shocked the team. "I want to go out there again," he said. "But this time without the helmet." Amira's eyes widened. "You can't. The air. It's safe enough for 10 minutes, he replied. "I just want to see what happens when it sees my face." Reluctantly, she agreed under strict monitoring. They went back to the canyon where the mist moved like slow waves. Ward stood on the ridge, removed his helmet, and took a deep breath of alien air. It smelled like metal and rain. For a long while, nothing happened. Then from the fog, the sound came again, soft steps, steady and deliberate. The same creature emerged, its scales dark and wet with mist. It stopped a few meters away. Ward did not reach for his weapon. He just stood still, breathing calmly. The creature's head lowered. It looked straight into his uncovered face. Amira whispered through the communicator. "Its heart rate just dropped. It's relaxed." The beast walked in a circle around him, slow and thoughtful. Its eyes glowed faintly in the dim light, catching every move he made. Ward could feel the air shake each time it exhaled. Still, it made no move to attack. Then something even stranger happened. He felt an emotion that wasn't his own. A faint echo of understanding, not in words, but in feeling. It was like standing beside something that knew hunger, pain, and survival, yet also respect. Amira's sensors picked up something remarkable. The creature's brain waves matched patterns humans showed when they recognized another intelligent life form. It wasn't seeing him as food or threat. It was seeing him as kin. Ward finally spoke softly, unsure if the creature would understand. "You know, don't you? You see it too." The wind carried his voice, and for a moment he thought the creature nodded. It let out a low, deep sound, half growl, half sigh, and stepped back. Then it turned and disappeared into the canyon. Amira ran to him, scanning his vitals. "Elias, what did you feel?" He looked at her quietly. "It saw me," he said. "Not as prey. Not as a stranger. It saw something it knew." They returned to the ship in silence. The recordings showed that during the entire encounter, the creature's aggression signals stayed low. It had been calm, almost gentle. That evening, as the storm cleared, the crew gathered around the observation deck. Far across the plain, faint shapes moved in the dark, large silhouettes watching from a distance. Dozens of glowing eyes shimmered faintly in the fog, reflecting the camp lights. None of them came closer. They only watched. Ward felt a chill down his spine. He didn't feel hunted. He felt acknowledged, Amira whispered. "Every species that survives long enough to stand at the top of its world learns the same lesson. Respect the will to live. Maybe they see that in us." He nodded slowly. "Maybe in our eyes they see the story of every hunt, every struggle, every victory over extinction. Maybe they recognize the fire that never dies." The night stretched on. Lightning lit the plain, and in every flash Ward could see the glint of those golden eyes. They did not blink, did not move. They simply looked back as if studying old family across time and space. No one on the crew spoke again that night. But each of them felt the same quiet truth. On this strange world surrounded by beasts born from storms and survival, humanity was not alone. The hunters of this planet had seen something in them. Something kindred, and from that night on, whenever Ward met another world's predator through his visor, he would pause just as it did and let the silence speak between them. It was no longer fear that held them apart. It was recognition, an ancient memory shared between eyes that had seen too much of the wild to ever for. Weeks passed after the encounter on Thraxis 9. The crew of the Odyssey Dawn returned to their base on Luna Station. But the story of what they had seen spread fast across every human colony. Scientists, soldiers, and even ordinary settlers talked about the strange truth they had discovered, how the deadliest hunters of alien worlds did not fear humans. They looked at them as something equal, something familiar. Dr. Amira Holt worked day and night analyzing every piece of data. She compared the brain scans from the Thraxis predator to hundreds of other creatures recorded during earlier expeditions. The results were the same every time. Whenever a human and a predator locked eyes, both their heartbeats slowed, their adrenaline dropped, and an odd calmness appeared. It was like two old warriors recognizing each other before battle and deciding it wasn't needed. Commander Elias Ward became famous for his calm meeting with the Thraxis beast. But he didn't feel like a hero. Every time he remembered those golden eyes, he felt something strange in his chest, something that wasn't fear or pride. It was connection. He couldn't explain it, but he felt that creature had understood him better than most people ever could. Soon, the Galactic Scientific Assembly called for a full report. Humanity had already gained a name among other alien civilizations. Deathworlders, they were called, because their homeworld, Earth, was one of the most dangerous known planets to evolve intelligent life. Most alien species avoided predators. Humans evolved from them. That difference now seemed more meaningful than anyone had realized. Amira and Ward stood before hundreds of alien delegates, showing the videos of encounters. The audience gasped when they saw the Thraxis creature stopping its charge, staring at Ward and backing away. "This isn't an act of fear," Amira said. "It's recognition. Predators recognize will, the will to live, the will to fight, the will to endure. Humans carry that same fire in their eyes." An elder alien scholar raised a question. His voice was soft and unsure. "Are you suggesting, Dr. Holt, that these beasts feel kinship with your kind?" She nodded gently. "Maybe not kinship as you understand it, but something close to respect." The hall fell silent. Many alien races had evolved from peaceful herbivores, social gatherers, or aquatic thinkers who never knew true fear of death. They had forgotten what it was like to hunt or be hunted. The idea that humans shared a silent bond with the universe's deadliest predators disturbed them deeply. After the meeting, Several alien diplomats whispered among themselves. One said, "The humans are not conquerors. They are reminders of what the galaxy used to be." Meanwhile, news stories began to appear across the colonies. On the jungle planet Polis, a human explorer named Maya got lost for 3 days. Her signal vanished. Search drones found her days later sitting beside a massive striped predator. The beast stood watch over her, as if guarding her from smaller scavengers. When help arrived, it quietly left. She told the rescuers that she had woken up to see it staring into her eyes, but instead of attacking, it lay down nearby and kept her safe. On the frozen moon of Luthen Prime, engineers reported that an ice leviathan followed their crawler convoy for weeks but never attacked. Sometimes it surfaced beside them, watching through the blizzard. When one of their machines fell into a crack, the creature pushed it up with its massive fin. The crew didn't even know how to react. They just waved at it and it vanished under the ice again. By now, Amira's theory was being studied everywhere. Her paper was titled, "Reflections of the Hunter, Shared Evolutionary Recognition Across Species." In it, she wrote that humanity's eyes carried something no instrument could measure, the memory of millions of years of survival. Every apex predator seemed to sense it. Ward read her paper and smiled softly. "You always said the stars would remind us who we are," he told her. "Maybe the predators just helped us remember." But not everyone was at peace with the discovery. Some alien species began avoiding human contact altogether. They said the human gaze made them uncomfortable, as if they were being seen by something too old, too unbroken. A diplomat from the gentle Kasha species said, "When a human looks at me, I feel as if evolution itself is staring." Despite the unease, more evidence kept coming. On the ocean world of Aralis, a diver named Ren slipped off the side of a research platform into a violent whirlpool. The ocean currents pulled him under. The team thought he was lost. But minutes later, a massive sea creature rose from the depths, blue-skinned, finned, and ancient. It held Ren carefully in its jaws, pushing him upward until he reached the surface. Cameras recorded everything. The creature looked at him once more before sinking into the sea. The video spread across the network. People watched the replay over and over, the moment when Ren and the creature's eyes met underwater. There was no hate, no hunger, only a calm understanding. Ward watched that video in silence one evening aboard the Odyssey Dawn. The glow from the screen lit his face as the footage replayed endlessly. "Maybe," he said to himself, "they see what the universe tried to erase, the will to keep going." Amira walked in and stood beside him. "Do you ever wonder," she asked softly, "if they feel lonely too? Maybe they recognize us because we're the only ones left who still fight to survive the hard way." Ward nodded. "That's what binds us. Not blood, not species. It's the will to endure." The phrase spread like wildfire across human colonies. Soldiers, scientists, and settlers began to use it as a motto, the will to endure. Artists painted humans and alien predators side by side. Children in schools learned about the shared instinct between hunters and humans. It wasn't seen as something dark or violent anymore. It was seen as noble. Soon a new saying appeared among the colonies. "The hunters see their kin in us." Even alien philosophers began quoting it. They said humanity reminded them that survival was not shameful. That courage and instinct were not primitive, they were sacred. On Thraxis 9, a monument was built where Ward had once stood without his helmet. It showed two figures, a human and a great-scaled creature both facing each other, their eyes meeting. The plaque below read, "Recognition beyond fear." Years later, Ward returned to that same planet. The storms had calmed. He stood on the ridge again, older now, his hair gray beneath his helmet. Amira had retired to Earth, but her work had changed how the galaxy saw humanity. As Ward looked across the plain, he saw golden lights flickering in the distance. The creatures were there again, quiet, watching. He stepped forward, removed his helmet one last time, and let the wind brush across his face. For a moment, everything went still. The creatures did not move closer, but they did not hide either. Dozens of eyes reflected the soft glow of the setting sun. Ward smiled faintly. "We're not so different, are we?" he whispered. The wind carried his words into the wide silence. One of the creatures gave a low, rumbling sound that echoed softly through the valley. Ward didn't need a translator. He understood. It was a greeting. He stood there until the stars began to show above, feeling the peace of understanding something ancient and true. Humans were not alone in their strength. Across worlds and centuries, among teeth and claws and endless storms, there were others who shared that fire, the ones who never gave up, who learned to survive without losing their heart. The universe was vast and cold, but somewhere in the eyes of every hunter there was warmth when they saw a human, because in those eyes they found something kindred, something eternal.